Hi. Oh my goodness. So I'm Jenny. Welcome back. And on my channel lately, I've been just posting random thoughts. But today, I'm going to actually sit. I'm not going to drive because I have a list right here that I want to go over with you regarding things that we can do with this tariff that's supposed to start today, or these tariffs that can start today. And so welcome back if you're returning, and welcome for the first time if you're new here. You are welcome to post your comments below on your opinions. Just please remember to keep them kind. So I'm going to go over this list of things that I thought that we can do because, the normal everyday American person, we're kind of at the mercy of whatever happens in the marketplace. And so I have some things that I thought about how we can get through this time because, President Trump did say that it would be rough. So there's no denying that things are going to get a little tight for some of us. And I think that these are actually practical tips that I have, regardless of why the market's tight, whether it's a tariff or whether we're in a recession or whether maybe you just have some hardship going on in your life personally and things happen. So some of it, like my very first one is Buy USA. That's the whole point of the tariffs, is that we want to get our industries back into the United States. We want to be more self-reliant and not to be dependent on these other countries. So we want to remember to buy USA if at all possible. And the last time they had this big campaign for buying USA, the USA made, they had the big tags inside, made in the USA, and those items actually were a little bit more expensive. I will admit that. But if you have the possibility of buying something that's made in the USA, and you have the means to do it, then I would say go ahead and do it. Now, as far as other purchases, buying thrifted goods, used goods, you can go to yard sales, Craigslist, Marketplace, eBay, a lot of other places where you can get used items for a less expensive than going out and buying. And there's a lot of other reasons for buying used. We keep things out of the landfill. It's a form of recycling, in my opinion. And, some people say, well, you shouldn't be buying from Goodwill and some of these other charity shops because it takes the goods away from the people who really need it. Well, that is not entirely true, because, first of all, there's a lot of things in there that are not necessary, but maybe you can use as gifts or places, ways to decorate your house. They're not necessities. And second of all, there is so much inventory in the thrift stores that they are going to the landfills anyway. So there's that. Now, we can be a little creative as far as buying secondhand as well, because there's a lot of talk right now about the thrift stores prices are going high, and some places are actually pricing their items higher than what you would buy if you buy them new. So you have to be strategic as far as buying used products. But there are a lot of people who are selling things from their house, either on Craigslist or yard sales or estate sales. Estate sales is, you have to kind of learn estate sales, at least in my area. But estate sales is a place where you can get furniture, or you can get a lot of other things at a lower cost than what you would if you had to buy it new. So practice your utility reductions. So this is common sense, a lot of this is turn the lights off when you're leaving a room. Maybe you don't have to have your air conditioning set so high, or your heat set so high. And then learn about what appliances that you have in your house they're called vampire appliances, and put them on a one of those strips that you can turn off when you're not using them. Do you really need the 14 clocks in your house? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Just different things. Look around your house and find ways that you can cut back on your utility consumption. Same thing with water. Be aware of how much water you're using, and are you letting it run when you don't necessarily need to. And, we're coming into summertime, and we want to water our grass, or we want to water our plants, and so on and so forth. Are there ways that you can use water that you've already used to water your plants in your gardens? So, for instance, in my house, I have a little it's a very small washing machine. It's not a washing machine that you have to hook up to your plumbing. It's a washing machine that I actually use in my kitchen sink. And in the summertime, when I'm draining that washing machine, I use that water, not with bleach. If I'm bleaching something, I don't use that. But the rest of the water, the rinse water and the soapy water, I do use to water my garden and my potted plants. I mean, you have to water a lot here in Georgia. In the summertime, it gets hot and it doesn't rain as much. So, you know where you live, you may need to water a lot too. So you can reuse your laundry water, and that's what I do. Same thing with catching rainwater and using that. So I'm just saying there are creative ways to lower your utility costs. And then learn to shop sales and learn to use coupons. And, some of the stores give you bucks or dollars back and things like that with your memberships to that store. So get familiar with your store policies and the stores that you use. Get your weekly flyers at your grocery stores and see what's on sale. See if you can find a coupon. Do they have one that you can clip and add onto your membership card, and it'll come right off at the checkout? And do your menu planning around what's available and what's on sale that week at the store. The other thing I have on here is taking care of your car. Now, duh, right? There's certain things that we have to do regularly. Oil changes. You want to make sure that you get your oil change. Make sure that you're keeping up with your tires and things like that. And then this is a big one. And I just went through this myself actually this week. Maybe it's less expensive to repair than buying a new car. I just put $2,000 into this car that you're looking at me sitting in right now this past week. And yes, it was painful. It was painful. I didn't want to spend $2,000 on this car, but $2,000 is still less than it costs to buy a car. And I know with these tariffs that are coming up, automobile prices are probably going to go up, especially foreign. I mean, I drive a Chevy. It happens to be an American car, but I don't even know if we're going to have higher prices on American cars because of the way that we've been doing our manufacturing, sending, to one country to build this, shipping it back here, sending it to another country here, and then just putting the whole thing together once it gets back to the United States. It's crazy. I don't get it. But anyway, I don't know 100% if a car is a quote American made car, if these tariffs are going to affect them or not. I kind of think they will until we get things under whatever control is in the plan. Okay. And then not just our cars, but our large appliances, washing machines, refrigerators, hot water heaters, washers and dryers, things that are expensive to replace. Is it cheaper maybe to have it repaired versus having to buy a new one? And it's going to depend. It's not going to hurt to get an estimate, but yeah, check and see. Maybe it would be cheaper just to repair something and hold on to it a little bit longer versus, saying, oh, well, it's no good, I'm just going to get a new one. Here's another thing. I was telling you about my garden and my potted plants. Plant a garden, plant vegetables, plant herbs. Even if you live in an apartment, you can still plant, some vegetables will grow very well in a pot. You can always plant herbs and have them in your kitchen and just cut off what you need. So there are ways to save, even if you don't have access to a plot of land where you can plant an actual big garden. But you will also find that if you grow your own fruits and vegetables, the taste is so much better. And what fertilizers have been used, what pesticides have been used, etc., etc. And so what's been done to that plant before you put it in your mouth. Okay, so that's another plus there. Another thing is considering what it is that you buy. For instance, they always go after the coffee, the expensive coffees. And I can see it. I mean, $6 and $7 for a cup of coffee when you can buy a whole container of coffee for around $8 to $10, and how many cups of coffee you get out of it. So that's an example that people like to use. But it could be other things. Maybe instead of buying bottled water, you can buy a filter and maybe put some of your, flavor it with fruits or melon or cucumber or herbs. There's actually recipes that you can look up to flavor your water. And maybe maybe you just need to start drinking water instead of soda and all these sweetened drinks and these energy drinks and these other drinks that have all these, not just calories that are empty calories, but also chemicals that aren't necessarily all that great for your body. And then also maybe think about, do I really need this? You know, we like to shop, and I like to shop too, but do you really need 5 pairs in different colors of the same sneaker or the same shirt? Now, maybe you do. Maybe you have a job where you have to dress a certain way, and it's practical to buy that many of one color, or, one style of something. But maybe not. Maybe you just like them. And so think about, do I really need this? Or is it a purchase that I can put off? And then, do I really need to eat out, or do I have actual food in my refrigerator that I could cook before it goes bad and not spend $20, $30 or more if you have a family to eat out when you have the ingredients and the food already in your house that, you could just whip something up? And then the last thing I want to say is, and this is really, really important, and this is probably the hardest part of it, is try to save some money. Take a little bit of money out of your paycheck every single time and put it somewhere in a savings account. It doesn't have to be, any of these fancy accounts, just a regular savings account. Go to your bank and find out, if you don't have one, what you need to start a savings account, and make it a practice to put money away, because anything can happen. And if things get as bad as some people are predicting and something breaks, you're going to wish you had something to help you get through that tough time, or if somebody gets sick or whatever's going to happen. Things could, I don't know, and I'm hoping not, but I'm just saying, in my own life, I've had experiences where something you didn't expect happens, and I wish I'd had a little bit of money tucked away. And the truth of the matter is, even though I said it was painful for this car repair, I am grateful that I put this practice into my own life. I don't have a big savings. I really don't. I clean houses. But I do. Every single paycheck that I have, I put 10%. This is what I do, because I've made it so that I can. I put 10% into savings, and I put 10% towards my debt. And so, the debt will get paid down and the savings will go up. And like I said, I'm grateful, because there have been times when I've had to use that savings instead of having to create debt, just so I could get through. So, yeah, try to save some money, you guys, if you possibly can. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.